0, and liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mission CTRL. This is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands. And we've got an exciting, fact-filled, motivational, inspirational episode today. Please help me welcome Mr. Jeff Peduto of the Era Group.
Hi, Ramon. High expectations.
High expectations.
Thanks for that.
Consulting partner at Era Group. And your whole deal is cost optimization and reducing costs for businesses. And so right now we're all dealing with these tariff issues. That's all you hear about. Let's talk tariffs a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, listen, tariffs is not a lot that a business can do about them, right? They are what they are. If you're importing something from outside the country, you're going to pay for it regardless. You can't really negotiate with the government. That's a little hard. So businesses have to find alternative solutions for that. And we've helped our customers deal with that because perfect example that comes to mind, I have a client who had a supplier out in Canada, right? And that supplier, this client creates giant presses, custom presses.
By the way, I need an alternate solution to introducing Jorge, which I skipped over.
Forgot Jorge. Don't forget Jorge.
We cannot. So Jorge is our director of web development, the man on the soundboard. So let's welcome him to the show.
How's it going, everybody? The man with the plan. Getting more episodes in the can.
He also works on these little.
I'm not quitting my day job.
Right. So we want to make sure we get those out.
That's cool.
So going back to the tariffs, you have this client. He has a supplier in Canada. And Canada, I think, has like 100% tariff or something stupid.
And it's going up and down. It changes all the time, and it's so unpredictable for these customers.
Yeah.
So they and the thing is, you either absorb it and then that reduces your margins, or you pass it on to your customer, and that can make you not competitive in your marketplace. Right. And that's a killer for a business. So this particular client, he was trying to find a different supplier in the United States, and it was so custom what he was looking for. His specifications were so specific that he was having a really hard time doing that. And so when we consulted with him, it was more about, let's not worry about changing suppliers because that's significant disruption to your business. Let's not worry about you increasing your prices because that's going to put you out of the market. Let's look how we can offset some of the cost that you're incurring with stuff you're already spending. In a place where you're already spending money, let's get you some money back in some of those other expenses that you don't really spend a lot of time paying attention to because it's not what you're good at.
Right.
And we are. Right. So that's where we were able to help him stay with his existing supplier, not increase his prices, but maintain his EBITDA and his margins where they were just by spending less money on things that are more enabling and less value add to his customer.
Right, and I'm guilty of that. I mean, I think small business owners are more likely to be set it and forget it because we're just focused on what we're good at.
That's right.
If I have a vendor and it's working, like, okay, I'm sticking with it. And this year, we've switched like internet, phone carriers, looking for those cost savings. But now that we're established with those new vendors, I'm moving on. Like I'm not keeping an eye on every single fee, every single charge. I'm assuming like, okay, if we're saving money, we're fine. I'm gonna move forward. And I think, as a business owner, I can empathize with that gentleman there who is not looking at all those details. We're looking at like, well, where am I getting it from? Can I get it from somewhere else? But you're saying you guys are specialized, the hired guns that come in and like really look at the details.
I mean, you should be focusing on growth.
Yeah.
That's what you want. You want to focus on sales, marketing, new products. How do I add more value to my customers, as opposed to spending a lot of time working on your business internally of how much am I spending on waste management? How much am I spending on packaging? How much am I spending on energy or whatever the cost category is that you need to just run your business? You don't want to focus on that. You want to. You got into this to work with your customers because you do something particularly well. Let us bring the expertise of knowing those cost categories really, really well. We bring in the specialists and do it in a way that doesn't add cost to your business. Right? That's also a big part. Too.
Right. That was a key piece where it's like if you don't find the cure, there's no cost.
Exactly. And you shouldn't. Like, there's a lot of consulting companies that you have to pay up front here, paying for my time, paying for my expertise, whatever. You want to save cash. That's what you're looking to save. That's the outcome you're looking for. That's what you should pay for. And that's the only thing we make you pay for. And you don't actually pay for it because it just comes out of whatever we save you.
Right.
So every customer
basically
comes out
say,
cash flow positive.
We're going to find our fee in your savings.
Exactly. Like otherwise, we're not adding value to the organization, and no cost consultant would be adding value unless they're actually saving some money.
We bring up another point, which is remaining competitive, and I think that's also going to resonate with our listeners. And we have we have several partners, but we have a printing partner that had to get a piece of equipment from Germany that probably had like a 30% increase in the cost, and so now he's got to finance that first of all. So now you're paying interest on a piece of equipment that you feel like you need that's way more costly than you originally anticipated. So guess what the easiest thing to do is when somebody comes in and wants to get a printout from that piece of equipment, it's going to cost more.
Absolutely.
So maybe his competitors had an old one, or they didn't increase their prices because maybe they found savings elsewhere, but now the pricing's out of whack. And what we've noticed in this economy for the last year is people are kicking the tires for a very long time. They're going over proposals. They're getting multiple quotes. Like they're very hesitant to move on something the old-fashioned way of like, oh yeah, that's my guy, I'm good. No, they're gonna really do price comparison on any kind of estimate. So it makes it challenging now for businesses to stay competitive.
Well, and think how much that disrupts your business.
Right.
Like, you're not focusing on growing, you're focusing on expense reduction, and that's not what you do.
No.
Right. So the amount of disruption to your business, the amount of reallocation of resources you have people who you pay to grow your business that you now have to take their time to go evaluate all these proposals, evaluate all these contracts, evaluate all these. And most of the time, what small and mid-sized companies do when they're looking for a vendor, they do a little bit of online research. They look for the first 3 or 4 they find. They're the ones that end up competing. And they really don't have the time to evaluate the entire market for that thing that they're trying to buy. And they shouldn't, right? Because they need to be focusing on their growth. That's where you get an organization like ours we're going to do all the work. Like, all you have to do is provide the data and make decisions. And then outside of that, we're going to do everything else. We're going to come back to you with some options. That's a better service a better use of your time as a business owner than going in and doing exactly what you just described.
Excellent. Well, we're going to pause there. When we come back, we're going to learn about your background, your story, and how you got to Era Group when we get back.
Sounds good.
Do you need printing done on time and for a good price? From posters to embroidery, business cards and booklets, and everything in between. For the best printing, check out my boy Harry, our partners over at Minuteman Press of Shelton. High quality products, timely service, competitive prices. You can expect these and more when you partner with Minuteman Press for your design, printing, and marketing needs. For more information, visit shelton.minutemanpress.com and mention Peralta Design's Mission CTRL podcast for an extra 10% off your next order.
3, 2, 1. Launch frames.
And we're back. Please join me once again in welcoming Mr. Jeff Peduto from the Era Group, consulting partner of the Era Group. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, happy to be here.
Fans go crazy.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, they're just... What are we giving away? Did you bring any tchotchkes for them? Or?
I'll give them a complimentary cost assessment.
Okay.
How about that?
And we'll find out how to get just that.
They're going crazy because bring them savings to their operations.
Right.
It's
they're like,
incredible.
They're happy about saving money. Who isn't happy about saving money?
That's right.
So tell us your story.
Sure. I grew up in upstate New York. My parents are originally from North Providence, but my dad was one of the first to get out of North Providence, and he was the first in his family to go to college, and so he got a job with the state of New York.
Upstate, like Albany, Buffalo?
Yeah, Albany, Saratoga area.
Okay.
Yep.
Saratoga Springs.
Spent my summers at the racetrack.
Nice.
Right?
Is that Watkins area? No.
Watkins?
Watkins Glen.
Oh, no. Saratoga Racecourse is the oldest in the country.
That's the one where they have the like the buggies, isn't it? Don't they have the.
They do all.
Or is that Yonkers?
No, they do all sorts of like 1920s style, attire, and they have. Right now, they got the Belmont Stakes is running out of Saratoga.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, I've spent my summers there. Lake George, that whole area.
Beautiful.
I was a baseball player. I had dreams of playing shortstop for the Yankees. By the time that
Could see that.
By the time that opportunity came available, there was already somebody in the position. Jeter was there already, so apparently unfortunately.
You had that locked up for quite some time.
Yeah. He's so selfish. No, listen. I went to UConn.
By the way, Jeff Peduto is a very Yankee name. Like that could have easily been a shortstop.
That'd have been great. I could see it on the screen. So I went to UConn. I actually did try out for the baseball team there too. I was too small.
Yeah.
As we talked about earlier, I'm vertically challenged. And so there were much better players there. But I got my degree in business administration and majored in finance. Walked out of there not knowing what I really wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And actually got involved in the recruiting industry. So I started as a contingency recruiter in my early years, and I spent my first few years working for Steve Bisciotti, who's the owner of the Baltimore Ravens, his first company, the Aerotech. I worked for them for a number of years and stayed in the staffing industry for about 12 years until I ended up going to the Hartford, where I got the opportunity to completely take a left turn career-wise. And they were just starting up a Lean Six Sigma process engineering function within the company, and had relationships through the recruiting world, and they taught me how to do Lean Six Sigma process engineering, and that changed my entire career.
Yeah, you're looking at efficiencies and cost-cutting measures. And
totally different than anything I had ever done, but really felt right because my propensity is in analysis and numbers. I was always a numbers guy, and so a lot of the statistical parts of that world really attracted me. And then, of course, the benefits of being able to help these Fortune 100 organizations reduce not just reduce spending, but more create efficiency, create capacity, create opportunity within the organization. That I spent 10 years doing that.
And that brought you to Connecticut? Because I know they had a big headquarters up in Hartford.
Yeah, well, UConn brought me to Connecticut, and then I went out of UConn down to Manhattan, and then slowly worked my way back into Connecticut. So I'd worked for a staffing firm out of Stanford, and then I worked for another executive networking group out of Norwalk, and then the Hartford got me up to Hartford. So I kept going north. And
it's like you guys didn't think it was cold enough here.
Right? I mean, and listen, I'm ready to go south. It is cold right now. So I spent 10 years at the Hartford, and then spent another 3 years at United Health Group doing the same thing for their Medicare division.
So insurance.
A lot of insurance, property and casualty, then to health, and then made another turn, same world, but ended up working for an advertising agency who worked in the recruitment space, and I was their senior vice president of operations. So that's where I took a lot of the process engineering practice that I had learned, and then applied it across multiple different functions, from anything that didn't fit into another bucket fit under operations, technology, some technology, legal, et cetera. And so I spent about 5.5 years working there, grew a company from 80 employees to 250, and at one point we were up to $250 million in revenue. Nice. And then I got to, hit the ripe old age of 50 and realized I had some expertise and wanted to go out on my own. And so I did. I actually opened up, prior to Era Group, my own operations management consultancy, fractional COO type work. And that was great. I had some great initial success there, but I was limited in terms of how much I could grow the business without hiring people, because it was based on my capacity. So I got connected with the Era Group through another contact. And the there was a lot of connection with what they did and what I was doing. Right. I spent a lot of time helping Fortune 100 companies be more efficient, and this is just me helping middle market companies be more efficient and actually save cash that hits the bottom line. And that's how I got to Era Group, and it's a great business.
And I doing a bit of research, I love the acronym. It is pronounced ERA, but it's formally known as Expense Reduction Analysts, and it's a global consultancy established in 1992, specializing in cost optimization, supplier management, improving operational efficiency. So definitely synergy with what you were doing. And there's over 1,000 specialists. Is each specialist a consulting partner, or are there different levels?
Different levels and different functions.
Yeah.
So it is the largest cost optimization consultancy in the world. We've got about 60 different countries in which we operate, and over 1,000 consultants, as you said. We're managing about $12 billion in spend across the globe. And the organization is made up of individuals like myself, 20, 30 years of experience in a particular area. And a lot of them are former executives. They know, whenever you want to negotiate, you'd like to know what the other side knows. Our guys do, right? And that's 1,000 consultants is made up of specialists in over 50 different cost categories.
There's so much value just in the experience that you have. And so I think one of my questions is, does something like that come purely, or let's say if you were to give it a percentage, how much of it is like a process or a methodology or a formula that you apply to a specific client or case? And how much of it is just having experience in the industry and knowing, okay, I know exactly kind of your whole logistics process, and I know where you can save?
Yeah, it's a combination of both, right? The ways that our folks find savings can come in a number of different methods. It can come from, you can find it in contracts, we can find it in your process, we can find it in the products you're using, we can find it in a number of adjacent ways that aren't just about negotiating price, but they are able to go after those different methodologies because they have the expertise. They know the suppliers in that world. They know every lever to pull because they've been on the other side negotiating with, our customers. So it's nice to have that kind of expertise, but also they do have some directionally where they're going to go look. They may look for do you have tail spend, right? In an area where you've got 3% of your spend, but you've got 700 vendors. Well, there's a process inefficiency right there, right? So we look for things like that, and that comes out in our cost assessment, which we do prior to engaging, signing any contracts with any customers, because it's important for us to know, is there opportunity? And we try to gauge that. We talked earlier, it's not really a sales, it's a fit.
Right.
Like, are we a fit? And is there opportunity? Because we don't want to engage in something either if we don't think we can find you savings. That's not good use of our time. So that we try to do that opportunity assessment to assess that early on, so that the client and we know, okay, there's something there that we can go find.
Right. It's got to be, juice got to be worth the squeeze.
Absolutely.
And we talked a little bit during the break about the importance of the relationships with suppliers, because going back to the tariff conversation, the knee-jerk reaction is find a new supplier that doesn't have the high tariff, although we're running out of countries, but that's another topic. But there's a value to the supplier relationship, and then there's also a value to the consumer as far as quality of the product. So you don't necessarily want to go with the cheapest.
That's right.
So talk a little bit about this risk-free model. And how you would approach some of these. I'm intrigued by the idea that let's not look where your first instinct might be to look to the supplier. Let's keep the supplier, but let's look at some other areas of your business. Yeah,
the 60% of our customers go with their existing. By the way, when we work with a customer, we're going to provide them multiple options. After doing all the analysis, after doing all the work, we come back to them and say, here's your options. The first option is always to stay with the current supplier, because that's the easiest thing. Change management's hard, and it disrupts businesses. So the more that you can stay there, the better, and get the same service that you need, because degradation in service in order to get price is not a good choice.
Nobody wins.
Nobody wins there, right? And everybody. Yes, that could be a whole nother conversation about how bad that can go. But you're going to get options for that, and you can choose to stay with your supplier. You can choose to go with another supplier at a lower price. You can go with another supplier with better service and a lower price. Like, you're going to have those options. So that is where our customers maintain control. And I think I've lost a little bit of the path of your question. So bring me back to your question.
The relationships that they have, right? And also just the end user, your brand, the company's brand is reflected in the quality of their products. So I believe you answered, most people stay, which is great. Yep. So the quality is going to be the same. But maybe talk a little bit about this risk-free model.
Okay.
Where you look at other efficiencies and places to save money.
Yeah. So the risk-free model is pretty simple. It's, if you don't actually save money, then we don't get paid. Period. Right. Full stop. When we work with suppliers, there's a lot of ways to reduce prices without changing suppliers. You can look at compliance, right? We've had a lot of success reviewing clients' contracts with insurance providers, because they often are overinsured, or in the case of like workers' comp, we will find where we'll do a whole audit of the workers' comp to make sure that they're really paying for what they need to be paying for. We've found a lot of nothing nefarious, but oftentimes it just goes overlooked.
You're right.
And so we can keep them with their same carrier, keep them with their same broker, but highlight to the broker and the carrier, okay, you need to provide some rebates here because this wasn't right. Or, our folks get really granular. And on top of that, cost management requires maintenance. So we can't just come in, find some great savings, and then walk out the door. Right? We have to actually maintain that for you, because otherwise, what value did you get? It just goes right back up the next year or the next month as soon as we walk out the door. So we stay on for 3 years, and we help manage that supplier and manage that cost to make sure that cost stays where we originally got it.
So that's a long-term engagement.
It is, and there's value there, because our folks can surface for our customers innovations in the marketplace that they're not taking advantage of, new products, it can identify where their processes internally start to go off the rails, and we can help bring them back. Like, there's a lot of maintenance that comes with cost savings.
Tell us a little bit about maybe a success story, an example, just so we can get an idea. Is it millions in savings? Is it hundreds of thousands in savings? And that can lead into the ideal company size or the ideal client that you're looking to help. Yeah.
It can be both. It can be couple 100,000. It could be 50,000. It could be nothing. It could be a couple million, because, one of the things that people go, well, you didn't save us anything on that project. Okay, great. So now you know that you got as good as you can get, right? You have some validation there. So that not finding savings is not the end of the world. It's actually a fairly good value add to the customer. But for example, working with a client who's spending $2 million a year in credit card fees.
In just the fees?
Just the fees.
Holy mackerel.
Because their customers pay with credit cards, and they're paying $2 million in fees. What they don't know is, what a lot of folks don't know, is the credit cards charge you rates based off of different criteria. And if you can qualify for the lower rate criteria, that automatically lowers your rates. And a lot of times that has to do with what data you're providing them. And it doesn't even have to be accurate data. So we're able to help customers navigate that world. And we can find them hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings just from making it so that they don't pay the higher rates that they don't even know that they can reduce, right? That was one. Another customer in the hospitality industry, that was their focus and their brand was that they were a environmentally friendly I think it was like a hotel chain. And the sponges they were using were environmentally friendly sponges, right? And so our guys took a look at it, and when we really got into the granular part of this, they said, these sponges you're using that you're paying, it's a waste because once they're used, you don't reuse them. These are the same ones you buy in the grocery store that you can buy wholesale, the ones with the green and yellow on each side. And all we have to do is put a sticker on it that says environmentally friendly. It'll be the exact same sponge. That saved them so much money.
Yeah. It's an expensive sticker that was on there.
It's crazy.
Wow, but those are great examples. Tell us, that is it a free assessment that folks get to kind of get the foot in the door with you, and then maybe share a bit of the ways folks can get a hold of you, your social, your LinkedIn, things like that.
Yeah. So to any of your listeners, I certainly offer a complimentary cost intelligence assessment. And that's good. Like I was mentioning earlier, it's good for both of us. What it does is we use your data as a client because we want the results to be specific to you. And it provides and benchmarks your information and where your spend is today against the thousands and thousands of projects we've done over the last 30 years. What it does is it helps us to understand what are the categories that we should spend some time on and what are the ones that are low ROI, don't bother with it, right? That happens before we ever engage with a customer. So I offer that to anybody. That is something I'm glad to do because, again, it's good for both of us. If you want to reach me, you can reach me either by email at jpeduto@eragroup.com. That's PEDUTO. Or you can call at 203-787-8737. If you want more information about the Era Group, it's just eragroup.com, and you can actually find my homepage right on that site.
Excellent. Well, I mean, you dropped some gems. I think that it's going to be relevant for quite some time. I think business owners are always looking for ways to reduce costs and get out of the habit now of passing it on to the consumer, which is why everything's gotten more expensive.
That's right.
So appreciate the good work you're doing, helping folks. I won't hold it against you that you and I both know Quetta. So shout out to Anthony
Shout out
Quetta.
to Anthony and AJ.
Crudo, free commercial.
AJ's Army. That's right.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, thank you for being on our show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you around at other chamber events.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to this episode of Mission Control. Until next time, this is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands.